I don't think it's an overreaction at all to say it could make as much as Superman did. However, this movie is bad.
Please go out and support it. Go out and support your boy, okay? You go out and watch the movie and you're supporting what your boy likes and making me happy, okay?
The numbers are in, the reviews are in, and the verdict is in. Supergirl is a super flop, but what's more than that is there are people everywhere crashing out about this, shilling about this, coping about this, all for the wrong reasons. And it is part of the big problem that I talk about here on this channel. It is where Hollywood has lost its way. It's what is wrong with our movies today, and we're going to talk about it. So pop that tape in. I got you. Let's go do this. All right, so listen, unless you're living under a rock, and you're probably not if you're clicking on this video, you're here to talk about movies, pop culture, our culture at large, our shared culture, our lost shared culture, all of that. Well, it's all kind of exemplified in this Supergirl situation. Now, people like me from day one were saying, look, that movie looks like James Gunn doing the only thing James Gunn knows how to do, and that is to make another Guardians of the Galaxy movie, except for without the overseeing help of like Joss Whedon and Jon Favreau to help guide him, without the charismatic actors like Chris Pratt and Bradley Cooper and Vin Diesel and Zoe Saldana, without all these people to help make his vision look good. He just continues to do the same thing and expect a different result, which is the definition of insanity. And insanity is exactly what is happening around this movie right now. From massive YouTube channels, reviewers, everything, there are people crashing out. Now listen, I don't like to get into all the drama, but here it really is a perfect sort of microcosm of everything I talk about with our lost culture, with what's wrong with movies now on this channel. And we might as well start with people that, like me, who saw this and saw the trailer and saw the bad cinematography. You saw the divisive rhetoric, and that's something I talk about all the time on here. Movies should be an invitation for us to share culture together, for us to share an experience together. And when you start trotting out things like what Millie Alcock had said about if I'm making white Christian dads angry, then I'm doing the right thing if I'm pissing them off, that Supergirl is a LGBTQ icon, all that kind of stuff. When you start doing that and you start saying things like this movie's better because it's against the patriarchy and there's no man involved and no love story and I'm stronger than Superman and I never watched any of the Supergirl shows. I never watched any of that. I didn't read the comics. All of these things, you're just sinking and dividing to start with. You're attacking your consumer base for this movie, number one. Then you combine all that with how bad the trailer looked from a filmmaking standpoint. Just objectively, it looked bad. And the minute that people like me point that out, people like Nerdrotic, people like Critical Drinker, anybody that pointed that out, WDW Pro, fake real life fake wizard, anybody that pointed that stuff out ahead of time was immediately attacked as a bigot, a hater, a this-a-phobe, a that-a-phobe, and people just retreated to their corners. So instead of talking about the movie and why you shouldn't make movies that set out to alienate half of your audience or more, the same problem with Steven Spielberg when he goes in and says, hey, this is going to make Christians question their faith in Disclosure Day. Why Christians? Why not, if you're saying it's going to make people who have faith question their faith, why attack specifically Christians? And Spielberg is my favorite director of all time. And that's just an epic fail. And it's part of what is the problem here. These things aren't invitations to a shared experience. They are set out to divide from the start, to cause controversy, to cause people to be at odds and retreat to their corners, to the point where we start being influenced by things that have nothing to do with the movie itself. And that happened right here with Supergirl. And that cost it, because in the end, it's just not a good movie. I did a review. It's just absolutely not a good movie. But people are defending it not on the merit of the film, and they're not attacking people who point out the shortcomings and point out the divisive nature of the approach they're taking. They're not doing that based on the film's quality. They're doing it through a political prism. That's the whole problem. And that has happened here, because the odd thing about this is the people who are epically crashing out and just retreating to their corners so hard, like Angry Joe. And listen, I've never really watched him. I really not know who he was. And I know he's a big channel, but I just don't have time for that. I got my own opinions and stuff like that. But when I saw this is epic levels of shill. You're attacking people who are objectively reviewing the movie and objectively saying, hey, these things aren't good. You're not uniting people. You're dividing people. And the minute you call that out, people like this start defending this movie blindly and attacking those other people, not based on the movie at all, but based on ideology. And that is a huge problem. You have Angry Joe. He's got a famous video, everybody's seen it, where he's just begging people to go and see this movie, and he's attacking everyone who says, hey, it's not good, and it doesn't look like it's going to be good, and it's going to flop because of all these reasons. He's just brutally attacking them, calling them all kinds of names. Everything is about politics. And then he goes and sees the movie and is like, yeah, it absolutely sucks. But he still attacks those people anyway. And we're getting too much of that. The weird thing about this is the reason it's a microcosm of what I talk about on this channel about these things that should connect us rather than divide us, is if you are objective, you could have had your stance that was through a political prism to start with, and then watched it, and then we're like, yeah, these people were right. Like, on the basis of this movie, we're right. And that actually happened with a couple. You had Grace Randolph and John Campea, who are traditionally much more liberal in their views. Let's just say that. They were like, look, and they were defending it beforehand. Grace Randolph got all dressed up. John Campea saying this thing could make $1 billion or something. It could outdo Superman. And then post-movie, he's like, yeah, it's bad. It's just a bad movie. It sucks. And then Grace Randolph does a whole based video on saying, like, look, this thing is a garbage feminist manifesto. Take the other scripts away from this person. She doesn't deserve it. This is awful. So these people on different sides of the political spectrum, if you will, are agreeing. So you got Grace Randolph and John Campea. They changed their opinion with this that was skewed through their political prism to start with. They just wanted it to be good because it fit sort of their line of thinking. And then when it didn't, at least they had the guts this time to call it out, because universally this movie is bad. But when you just start attacking people, we can't have nice things, right? We can't do this. And Hollywood will continue to destroy our heroes if they think they have allies that will back them up no matter what. And I'm going to do a whole video on Hollywood destroying our heroes, and it goes very deep. It's not just a surface level thing. But when you see these crash outs, I would just implore people to stop looking at every single thing in your life, particularly movies, through a political spectrum. And when that political message, or with any kind of message, is at the forefront of a film, I have said this universally. I don't care what message it is. If it's in politics, if it's a social justice thing, I don't care. If it's at the forefront, above story, or it is used to divide people before the movie starts, you're going to fail. The movie is going to fail, and that's what was happening here. You're trying to block. when you start realizing this movie's going to not do well based on its merits, because you went out, James Gunn can only do one thing, but he went out and hired a writer who had no experience, none, had only had a short film credit to her entire life. That's it. I don't even know how you approach getting a job like this. I mean, I'm an experienced writer for over 20 years. All of that, like, I can't even imagine how someone with absolutely no experience whatsoever just gets a job like this. There's much more to it than are they qualified. And so people start to see that and they're like, that's not cool. And then the actress is like, hey, she doesn't really look like what we would think of for Supergirl, and she's not portraying that correctly in public. And then you already are basing the movie on an offshoot graphic novel that wasn't really liked to start with by a very mediocre at best comic writer who has his own issues. So you already based it on that. And now, so you're not setting yourself up well, because James Gunn doesn't know how to do genuine truth, justice, American way. So he changes it. It's truth, justice, whatever. It's apathetic. It's destroying our heroes. It's more hero deconstructing. All of that cynicism. And people are tired of it. So you already have people like, oh God, it's more of this same thing. Then they see the trailers. They see how bad it looks. So it's not political to call those things out. Now, if you called those things out and then you went and saw the movie and it was great and it blew you away, and then you still ran back to that corner, well, then you're a problem on that side. But if you defend it blindly and then you go in there and see how bad it is and then you still attack those people, then this has nothing to do with movies anymore. It's creating the division that is the exact opposite of what movies should do. And then you get Angry Joe attacking not only Nerdrotic and Drinker, but anybody who dares listen to them or dares agree with them. And he's putting all these posts on Twitter where, you know, you're a bigot, you're a thisophobe, a thatophobe, you're all of these just awful things, because the truth is the movie's bad. The truth is he was shilling for it for political reasons, ideology reasons, and just to be on the other side of those guys. And it turns out, yeah, it's not a good movie. And so now he's angry. So instead of taking, and I'm going to give Grace Randolph and John Campea their flowers, instead of just taking it and saying, you know what, yeah, we were kind of simping for this to start with, but it's just bad. Don't go see it. And taking it and being honest, which they did there, instead of doing that, when you just go and attack people and continue to attack, that is the opposite of what movies are supposed to be about. Now, this movie made $68 million worldwide, $38 million roughly in the United States. That is absolutely horrible. That is, I think this movie had to make somewhere around 500 or 600 million is the break-even point. So this movie is going down like a fat kid on a seesaw. It is going to lose a ton of money. It shouldn't exist, really. It should not have been the second movie. You can't cast a person that goes out and says these things, does these things, with already a poor offshoot of the Supergirl story. The truth, justice, whatever, just attacking everything that these heroes are. You can't do that. James Gunn needs to go 100%. And I was excited to give him a chance, but he has proven he can't do anything except for one thing. Guardians of the Galaxy keeps trying to recreate it, but it was really his betters overall. It was Joss Whedon and Jon Favreau that were guiding everything he was doing. The original script was already there for the first Guardians, and he kind of took it and just changed a little bit with their guidance. So he's never been able to recreate all of that. All of his stuff does the same thing. It's cynical, it's raunchy. And listen, sometimes with the right characters that will play. With Supergirl and Superman and most DC characters, that raunchy, deconstructed, cynical doesn't play. And you take away everything good about those characters, and then you're left with spewing that same cynicism on people who review the movies. They adopt that kind of persona, and then everything just becomes sour and divisive. So instead of making a movie like let's just say Project Hail Mary, that has a good like hero's arc, a hesitant hero that finds the good in himself to save other people. Instead of doing things like this and giving people something, the symbol of hope to believe in again, something really genuine that Superman, Supergirl, that S is supposed to represent, you destroy it all and use it as something that divides people and causes them to argue because you at your heart are a cynical, sort of raunchy person that is putting that out there, that you can only do one thing, and it's seeping through to those people who will defend you no matter what. And then it causes them to crash out like this and attack other people. And I would invite you, everyone out there, whether you are left, right, or center, to stop viewing every single thing through the political prism first. Now, I would also invite Hollywood, and listen, be fair, stop putting it out there where people have to. If you go and invite certain reporters to ask questions, agenda-driven small reporters, when you go to do that, you set out to divide. When you put it out there and you start talking about putting anti-patriarchy first, pro-LGBTQ first, when you start putting all of these other things first, and that is all the talking points, and getting rid of what Superman was or Supergirl was, when you put all that out there first, then what do you expect from people? They're going to be standoffish and they'll be like, hey, it's more of you're trying to push a message on me. So don't get mad at those people when they call out what you are doing. All right. You can't do that because that is what you're putting out in the world. That is how you are kind of like trying to promote your film. So if you're Angry Joe or any of these people that get mad at Nerdrotic or Drinker or me or anyone else that calls that out, you need to look inward, because if they're throwing it in your face and that's how they're promoting it, then it's only fair to call it out, because you're setting out to divide, to insult half these people or more over here and say, don't go watch it, even though they're your audience. So if those people who you are attacking call it out, then you can't get mad at them for calling it out. And that's what's happening here. And then when you see that they're right and the movie really is garbage, when it really is that bad, and you still retreat to your corner and attack them anyway, that's exactly what they've wanted to do. They want to destroy any kind of sense of community, of a communal experience that movies are supposed to give us. So instead of uniting us, they are dividing us, and we continue to lose that shared monoculture over it all. And that is the exact opposite of what is supposed to happen. So yes, people like me or Nerdrotic or Fake Wizard or WDW Pro or Drinker or any of them, geeks and gamers, if they call that out, and they're right because it's in their face, you can't attack them over it. Now, if you say all that stuff and then the movie is good and then you crap on it anyway, then that's not good. That's the same thing you're doing over here on the other side. But the problem is we have 15 plus years of evidence that says these movies aren't good. It's not working. And they're losing money, and theaters are dying because of it, and you're not changing. And that breeds a frustration, because these people actually care. And stop saying it's not for them, it's not for that. These are the people that made these icons lasting icons. They made these characters and these fandoms popular. And now you want to take it, change it, say it's not for them, have a whole fantasy about gunning down the patriarchy in your movie. What do you expect from people? And then when that messaging is so heavy in the film, and yet even your own target audience either doesn't show up or hates it too, you've just made a bad movie. And you need to deal with it, because this is a very bad movie, and no amount of simping, coping, or crashing out is going to change the fact this movie is going to lose $300 million, most likely, and it should be the end of James Gunn. Now, he's probably going to get through The Man of Tomorrow because it's already filming, and his contract is through like the first part of next year. That's probably it. That's probably it, because I would imagine the Ellisons are going to be like, no, we're not doing this. I mean, these are the guys who brought you Top Gun Maverick, and they're trying to go back to the 1990 version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for a movie. That's where they're going. So I don't see this continuing. But crashing out over this, just be honest. Like, just be honest. If people are in your face shoving an agenda, then you can't get mad at people for calling out that being shoved at them. And then if the movie is bad, you can't get mad at people for pointing out the shortcomings of the film. So it doesn't matter how much you have a ideology tied to your political affiliation or whatever. That doesn't change whether a movie is structurally good or not. And this movie is just not good. It's not well shot. It's poorly written. Everything about it is bad. And no amount of copium is going to make it better. And no amount of division or attacking people for pointing out that it's bad and why it's divisive is going to help you either. And it's not going to help the film. It's going to continue to go down. And instead of doing this, I would challenge people to fairly review movies. I would challenge Hollywood to stop trying to divide people before a movie ever hits the theater. Because movies have the power to bring us together, but they clearly have the power to drive us further and further apart. And the thing is, we do not need that. We need the common ground, and movies can be it, but not if you're going to crash out, cope, simp, all these things on either side. Be honest. Be honest. And the honest truth is, there's one message that has been being pushed for a long time. It's at the forefront above entertainment, and it has proven over the last 15 years or so that it's losing money and people don't want to see it. It is time for a change. It is time for people to be honest in their reviews. Call a spade a spade. If an agenda is being pushed, call it out. If the movie is bad, call it out. If the movie is good, call it out. If you thought it was going to be bad and it was turned out to be good, call it out. If you thought it was going to be good and turned out to be bad, call it out. And I give Campia and I give Grace Randolph some props on that. It's something I didn't think I would say, because Campia drives me nuts with physical media stuff too, because he would like to see you own nothing and like it. But he's honest here. He tried to shill for it and it was bad, and he said it, and so did Grace Randolph. So, bouquets of flowers to them. That's what you should do. Now, Nerdrotic, Drinker, Wizard, WDW Pro, me, Geeks, Gamers, all these guys, Disparu, all these guys down, we saw it, that this movie wasn't going to do well. And the reasons why. And we said it beforehand. I made a video long beforehand about it. And it's the truth. It turned out to be the truth. If it wasn't the truth, I'd come here and tell you that, hey, it's better than I thought it was going to be. But I still don't like that you're trying to put messaging above all else. But if it was still, even through that, if it was better than I thought it would be, I'd tell you it wasn't. It wasn't. Stop using movies as something to divide us. Use them once again as something to entertain us, escape from all the other bullshit in the world, and come together with common ground. That is what we need to do, and that is what I got for you today. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. It helps out the channel. Very different kind of video today, but something that was on my mind seeing all this out there. But we do all kinds of stuff here. You know it. Check it out. Check out my Patreon. The link is below. I appreciate every single one of you. I don't care whether you like the movie or not. Let's just be honest about it. There is room for everybody here. And until next time, be kind, rewind like always. This is Chase with AV Pop Culture, and I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye. I know.